So, the consensus here are warm-up routines legit. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Gym Talk. My name is Cameron. I have here.
My name is Danny.
Today, we're going to go through our legit or shit series. We're going to look at a topic and we're going to discuss whether it is legit or if it's shit. Today's topic of discussion is warm-up routines. Are they useful or are they useless? Danny,
That's the question.
take the wheel.
That's the question. So I used to be a firm believer in warm routines, and that's not to say that I still don't promote them. It's just been recently where I've had a situation where due to a procedure that I had, I couldn't do the specific warm-up routines I wanted to do. That I've kind of just thrown them out because I haven't been able to do them. And I've personally found I make a lot better time on my lifts, obviously, because you're taking this whole section out of your program. And I haven't really noticed any like adverse effects really and taking them out. It's kind of just a little self-experiment I've been running. And all I really do for quote-unquote warm-ups, because I do believe you still need to get your blood moving, right? You still need to get your heart rate up before you go into crazy intense lifts. You need to warm up the muscle properly before you do high-intensity training. I just do warm-up sets of whatever I'm doing and then just do it. And it kind of has just been that simple, and it's been working. I've been putting on muscle. I've been recomping really well. I haven't had any pain, any issues, and I'm like, this might be the way forward.
How long have you been training for?
Lifting, I've been lifting weights seriously for about 8 years.
Okay. Would you say you have a pretty good mind-muscle connection?
Yes.
Okay.
And that is a factor. That's 100% a factor.
Yeah. I think for the general population who we are trying to cater to, a warm-up routine is going to be necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Because for people who are sedentary for most of the time throughout their day and are getting into the gym, I don't think walking on a treadmill or getting the heart rate up just a little bit and then jumping right into a set of back squats or whatever it's going to be is going to be ideal for you. I think it is, and I'm going to speak from experience as somebody who has had chronic back injuries and stuff, and only through working with my physical therapist have I been able to find tremendous relief from those things. And I do a specific, now I'm lifting heavy, like I'm going for heavy lifts, right? So it is important for me to do a proper warm-up routine. Now, when people do these long-ass warm-up routines where they're foam rolling, activation, this, that, and they spend 30 minutes or whatever, and I used to be in that camp, and I know people that were there before too, that is too much. Don't do that, right? I think you can benefit from doing a little core activation, some light mobility, glute activation, maybe do like a little thing to get your heart rate up, or maybe even just like get a couple sets of whatever exercise, specific exercise that you're doing, then go into your workout. I think that is the better approach to do. I have found tremendous benefit from doing my glute activation, my core activation and stuff too, because for a lot of people, they don't have the mind-muscle connection that you have, that you or I have. And it may be difficult for them to feel those muscles when they're warming up. And so doing some direct muscle activation is going to benefit them. So I'm in the camp of, I think warm-up routines, depending on how they are structured, are legit.
Yeah. No, I would still categorize them as legit. I think it also is dependent on the type of program or style of training that you do. You do a lot of heavy compound movements. You're into powerlifting, strength training, right? That is a situation where you need to be able to, you can't just feel it, right?
Yeah.
I do a lot of machines. I do Smith machine. I do a lot of like machine work for hypertrophy stuff. I'm not really doing these big, heavy compound movements with free weights. So in that context, I don't really need my stabilizers warmed up. I'm just hitting target musculature. I don't think I need to get my blood up too high and warm up my stabilizers in that entirety where you need to, right? Like if I was going to do a heavy ass back squat, I would probably make sure I'm feeling my glutes right and everything's firing as it should be in the proper sequence and order before I just hop under to 315, like casually, you know? Like I think that in that context, it's very important.
Yeah.
The context that I find I've just taken it out without issue is really just strictly machine-based hypertrophy training. That's the only context which I just like totally just get out of there. Just give me a couple sets to warm up the target musculature and just get right into it. If I was doing bench super heavy compounds for low reps, like high 1 rep max percentage, No, I'd be doing warm up for sure. Like you said, you don't need to do the foam rolling and the whole crazy like all that 30-minute warm routine. But making sure things are firing the proper sequences and making sure you could feel the muscles that need to be the prime movers and the synergistic movers, like that's important.
Yeah, I don't even think it needs to be in the sense of stabilize their muscles. I think you could get some benefit from doing some activation of your pec that could potentially benefit you in your machine-based chest exercise. I think there is a way to do some direct activation work on the pec that could get it to recruit more.
Well, that's where the mind-muscle connection comes in, right? Because that's what the first couple sets were my warm-up. Instead of doing a whole routine, my warm-up is just a couple sets of whatever I'm starting with or whatever the exercise I'm doing is. Those are the activation movements. Those couple sets feel slowly controlled because I have that mind-muscle connection where I can isolate my pec to do the majority of the work and feel it activating in the entire range of motion. I don't know what different variation I'd be able to do where I feel my pec more. If I'm already doing something that's solely for my pec, I will feel it during the motion.
Yeah.
If I do those couple warm-up sets, just isolate, make sure I feel the squeeze, the entire stretch of my pec, everything like that. That is enough activation for me.
Yeah, you also have pretty good posture too. And for somebody who is kyphotic, so their back is rounding and stuff, they're going to have a harder time feeling their pecs activate. And who is not as experienced as you, they're going to have a harder time. So finding some exercise that could adjust their posture slightly, get them to activate their pec, I think is going to be beneficial for them in the long run, and is potentially a warm-up routine that they could incorporate that is going to benefit them in the long run.
I agree. No, 100% I agree. And if you have these different postural issues or certain people that have like, back pain or hip tightness, definitely throw that in there. But if you're, I don't know if I can get you to fold on this subject, but like if you're someone in my situation, do you think what I'm doing for myself is bad? Just curious.
I know from experience, and we've talked about this, that you have had some minor issues just kind of like jumping into your routine. We've talked about this. Like, you remember, it was a few months ago where you're just like, it was something with your back or your hip or something. Yeah. And I poked fun at you, and I was like, well, maybe if you activated your glutes a little bit more, you wouldn't have that issue.
Well, that's what I was in that instance. That's when I was hopping straight into, like I said, I shouldn't, a compound movement. I was hopping straight into squats, which is probably not the best idea.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, the squat is going to be a really big lift for developing the lower body.
And the truth be told, this is one of my biggest vices and why sometimes I need somebody else there with me looking after what I'm doing is I will preach these things, and there's things that I just don't do.
Yeah, yeah.
And a warm routine a lot of times is just one of those things where I'm like, fuck it, I don't got the time for this today. Like, just
we all do it.
Yeah, no,
it happens.
I'm only human. But
yeah,
the principles don't. I think the principles still remain, and depending on the type of training you do, it's optional.
Yep,
it's optional. But most people should do it. That's what I'll say.
I think most people would benefit from doing a warm-up routine.
Unless you're me in my situation, you might be able to pass on.
Just don't do like a long ass warm-up routine that takes up most of your time. Like,
that's a waste of time.
In like there are definitely times. I will admit, there's times where I've gone in the gym. Yesterday was a good example. I didn't really do a warm-up routine. I was just kind of doing what you do. I'm fine. Whatever, it wasn't like a big deal or anything like that. But could I have benefited a little bit more from doing a bit of a warm-up routine? Definitely. And it doesn't need to be much. A little bit. So the consensus here. Are warm-up routines legit or shit?
Call them legit.
Legit. Warm-up routines are definitely legit. Don't go too crazy. Don't make them too long. Do something that's going to get things firing, get the blood flowing, and then feel good. Everyone, we want to know what you think about warm-up routines. Are they legit or are they shit? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Stick around for the next one.